you guys have?
I guess we're gonna play table.
Why don't we swing this table around?
I told him I would.
It's going live and it's recording it.
You're doing
But I mean, nobody asked me.
I'm running nothing but Rick.
So take that as I didn't mean to be. Because I said, saying, tell me.
You guys don't get points deducted or added for the time you create one or seconds. You're gonna type up and fire them up. Otherwise, you gotta sign up for everybody else.
So I have really.
Well, I'm just lucky because I said that to them. When someone said they needed me, I would have been able to be right now.
And I say, my one is with you.
I also know that I would tune in remotely if necessary.
I typically do that. I've said, do whatever to
Oh, there's no time to do that. There's no, they just made. Yeah, I suppose they didn't wanna read this one like next year.
We don't have all that here.
Yeah, we used to just say director of the printed ones when they're
There's so many of them that do it, and they're so possessive because they
All
do
the
like their
other
grandkids, and like,
Yeah.
don't teach my kids because they're my kids, you know, because they're, and so that's why so many, I mean, I guess some hard-handed drivers don't do it because they're ready to level, but they have young kids and, you know.
Well, we wait them through every morning. You can tell they're much more relaxed and more ready. Are you ready? Yep. All right. One more pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda. Need a second. All right, we'll call vote. Savajulu, yes. Ted?
Yes.
Kugisberg?
Yes.
Holzberg?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Ogdell?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Visitor comments? Any visitor comments? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Special recognitions and honors. Rick, take it away.
Okay, so board, I know that you know at the very beginning of the year, we made some changes with our, supposed to be,
No, there's nobody here.
okay. Anyway, we
That's fine.
made some changes with our transportation program that turned out to be very good. A little while after that, we made some changes with the bus drop-off and bus pickup, and that's a continual, program improvement, but overall, we're feeling really wonderful about a lot of the work that's been done. It so happens that Wednesday of this coming week, of the week we're in now, is across Minnesota is Minnesota School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. And we're very appreciative of our bus drivers, of our bus company, and our relationship we've developed, and with all the changes and improvements we've made since the beginning of the year. So we asked Wyatt Golke and Connie Springman to come out. They represent Palmer Bus Company. They may have a few things that they want to share, but we just thought you'd want to reach out and show appreciation to them during this week. And I think on Wednesday, our plans are to take some rolls out to the bus garage and make sure everybody gets a treat, when they come in from the morning runs. Wyatt's here, and Connie, you're supposed to each give about a 15-minute.
A little surprise, huh? No, I very much appreciate the support. I know, our drivers have been asked a lot this year, and it's been very demanding for a lot of them, and, a lot of them I know especially don't have to do what they do, but they continue pushing on and moving forward, and right around the corner is March. So we're getting through it. It's been great, and I appreciate all the support that we've been getting, a lot of the cooperation, and just moving together. I appreciate it.
And we do too, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly.
Yeah, so please share our appreciation with all of the folks, and we'll have some treats out there Wednesday morning.
Perfect.
you.
Thank you kindly.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. Can you go on?
You can go on, yes.
The other thing is, this is kind of historical, but this week, February 22nd to the February 26th is Minnesota School Board Recognition Week. And I don't think that, I mean, we like to have a lot of fun, we like to have some laughs, but what I want all you to know very sincerely is, and I think I speak for our entire staff, I think I speak for really the entire community in showing appreciation to all of you for the selfless commitment that you have made to help this school be better as we go, always kind of in a motion or a mode of continual improvement, looking out for our kids. We know we have financial evidence that nobody does this because they got paid. But I couldn't be more sincere when I speak on behalf of all of the community. And we've made up a little certificate of appreciation for you. It says Minnesota School Board Recognition Week, Certificate of Appreciation for your dedication to our students in public education in Minnesota. And then also I want to ask Chris to say a couple words while I'm handing these out, because they want to show appreciation also during this week.
Yeah, I think we had the pleasure of sitting down with you guys during meeting for a couple of weeks back, and that was really a nice experience. And at that point, we thanked you for a lot of the stuff that's happened in this very unusual year, but the Teachers Association just want to thank you too. And we don't have certificates, but we have Jessica Wilmus sugar cookies that are going home in your pockets if you don't eat them tonight. So, but they're incredible, and she did a really nice job on it. So, but thank you very much for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Nick, they're all stuck together here.
Just thanking you the rest of them.
There you go. Thanks, Lieutenant. You're welcome.
Justin,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the following meetings. January 25th, public hearing on flexible learning year, January 25th, regular board meeting, February 3rd, meet confer, and the February 3rd public hearing on flexible learning year. I'd like to motion to approve. Jeff, thank you. Take a second.
Second.
Nick, okay, roll call vote. Roger, yes. Ted?
Yes.
Lucasberg?
Yes.
Holzberg?
Yes.
Angie? Hogdell?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Okay, number 7, consider and approve claims and accounts. Vicky, your monthly time to shine.
Page, a list of bills, there's a few things I'd like to highlight. And I'd like to thank Ted for stopping in today and looking over all of these and telling me he had no questions at all. But on page 15, line number 10, Broughton Masonry, for $6,870, we had a reset room in Starbucks that had to be redone to meet code, and so that was the cement work that was done. Number 21, Clyde Machines, for $398.50, that was for some repair work on the catwalk and the pool filter room. Number 33, Fargo Additive Manufacturing Equipment, we purchased a 3D printer with applied tech funds to be used by the IT department and Carter Palmer and the business department. And Ted asked about Fitzharris, number 35. That is cross-country skis and boots and poles for the fire department out here at the school.
How long have they been rolling on the boat?
Well, probably since you were here.
Technology's changed.
I think they were, I thought I heard them today out there, and I was like, how are they going? No snow. Enough for over there.
Page 16, number 42, Jaeger Sports, that's baseball supplies. 45, the Johnson Controls bill for $15,899, that's part of our quarterly payments that we pay them. 51, Lakes Country Academy, for $7,216.45, that's a levy to fund that expenditure. Line 62 is Palmer Bus, that's a combination of our semi-monthly bill of $42,374, and our activities, our sped vans, and our fuel surcharges. 70 is Roomstone Area Ed District, which just had a meeting, and that's our monthly payment to them, $41,889. Page 17, line 83, True North Consulting Partners. That's curriculum development, with Julie Fritz is here working through our curriculum and helping plan our future purchases to help upgrade our curriculum here. Page 18, line 19, Water Walkers Incorporated. That's actually our food service licensing. They partner through them to have a meal planner, so it helps plan the meals as well as site production licensure required by the state. Page 19, kind of again, Acme Tool, that's a belt sander for $2,289. Again, a purchase with applied tech funding that we've received at the school. Page 20, line 50, Oxygen Services Company, also applied tech money, a plasma cutter that they're using in the ag shop. It's a handheld one. So that's the ones I plan on highlighting. If there's any other questions, we can on the bills.
Any questions?
Go to the investment report, we go all these together, correct?
I believe that's. So there, we did improve our, savings account by about $350,000. And again, last month we closed the 11 state turf fund, so we got out of that business like we were supposed to. So we're sitting at $3,582,000.
Anyone have any questions on the investment report? All right, food service.
There we continue to see an improvement, which is really amazing. This time of year, we normally don't have a profit already, but we are showing a current profit of $10,142.03. Partly due to the fact that we increased, as I stated last month, the amount of reimbursement that we get for each meal. And she's kept the cost down. I think they're doing pretty well, if they don't overspend now. Of course, all the kids are in, so the cost of the food, that type of thing will be going up, but I think it's pretty incredible that they're sitting in the black right now. There's no guarantee that's gonna happen by the end of the year, but we have all the kids in. But I think they've done pretty well this year. They tell me that breakfast, which is true, is up here. It's unusual. They told me that Janine did, that Alec is not able to hold their breakfast like we've been able to hold breakfast here. I know they're free, but, that when we agreed to make them free, either one, that wasn't something that was done across the board in the past, and continuing that free breakfast for that price lunch. Except the families out there wanted to participate in the program, and they kept participating.
Any questions on food service? All right, revenue and expenditure report.
There again, your revenues don't come in quite as quickly. State aid, levy, that type of thing comes in later. Final prior year, special ed funding is still holding. We won't know that final total till March for the June 30, 2020 estimated revenue, but right now it's still holding in the NDS payments. So even though we only brought in 39%, that's kind of normal for this time of year.
Any other questions for Vicki? Rick, you wanna talk enrollment?
Sure, and just before I do, I wanna thank Vicki for the great work she does. We never take her for granted. I really enjoy working for her, and I especially enjoy when she introduces me as Mr. Ellington, Mr. Elling's son. Along the way, so we're getting to know each other.
Mr. Allen.
I don't know, that's probably gonna be next.
It'll be easy.
On the enrollment report, which you'll see the compilation of things from the beginning of the year, you'll see we dropped off a little bit there. We went from 1,279 to 1,270 students. If you look at that document at the far right, that last column that shows the daily average, you'll see as of February 19th, we were right at 12,080, which is the number around which our budget is built. So we have some families still moving in and out of the district, and some kids moving in and out. We'll keep that monitoring as we go through the year. That'll be pretty important to keep track of then as we come to the end of the year, so we build our budget based on whatever the projections are next year.
Do we have any, is there anything different about this drop? It looks a little bigger than some of the others, month over month, just.
No, I think we had three students from one family that moved in, and so nothing, we're down, but every day, what I wanna say about those 10 kids is that really could be about 15 kids that have moved in and out of the district over the course of, say, the last month. So we do have some transition going on, probably gonna be that way going forward. Nothing that raises any red flags at this point.
Nothing we can control.
I do think though that, there was another report that came out from the Department of Education just, today in the governor's projections, and one of the things the governor's doing is projecting a budget that would be based on last year's end of the year enrollment. So they're trying to hold the districts harmless if they've lost students because of homeschooling or because of, they open enrolled online someplace else for 1 year. So in the end, whatever our number was the last day of school last year, if it was 1,280, that's pretty much where we're gonna be able to recover some of those funds. But our number this year is very healthy compared to just about everybody across the state. A lot of districts lost a lot of kids to those two areas, online or open enrollment. And due to some of the things that I think we've done from the very beginning in reaching out to the community and having our staff reach out and inform those people about, the difference they make, they stay with us. I think we truly are an exception to what's going on around the district. One other area, and then I'll let this go, but is in free and reduced lunch. You just heard a report. But I think we're one of only 2 or 3 schools in the state where the free and reduced lunch count from last year to this year increased. And that represents about $40,000 for us in next year's budget. And that was because of the work that Angie and 4 colleagues that you recognized earlier in the year did. But all those were aggressive moves that they made to keep our budget, how we want it to be. Where almost everybody around us is talking about how do they make that up. So the governor's got a plan to make up for compensatory. The governor's got a plan to make up for loss of students for 1 year. But in our case, we're not only not making up, but we increased our revenue flow by $40,000 because of the work of all these constituents. So it's
Great.
Yeah, Alec lost 113 or 115 kids.
And that's not bad. I've sat in on president's meetings with other unions, their school districts, they're losing 700 kids out of their district. I mean, and it's like they have to do down in the bone cuts, even though they're getting that number next year, because they know they're not gonna get all those kids back, because they just jettisoned out. And so we're very fortunate that we did.
Good work.
Well, we should probably even think about writing a note to the community of appreciation, just giving them kind of a mid-year report. Pardon?
Sticking with it.
Yeah, for staying with us and.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, great work on the free and reduced lunch. That was a big issue last year. Actually, last 2 years we talked about it.
Sure.
Being a big hole. So it's nice to see that we're
being proactive to get people signed up. Anybody have any questions for Rick or Vicky on the claims and accounts? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve all the claims.
So move.
You get a second?
You're right, good.
Good. All right, roll call vote. I need to abstain. Ted Wakeman,
Yes.
Lewisburg,
Yes.
Holberg, Angie,
Yes.
Otto. All right, motion carries. Okay, item number 8, consider approval of resolution number 02222021, accepting donations to the school district. Do you have the ones that?
Go ahead.
Do you have those, cards and letters?
Yeah, they were working on their own.
For Joyce Jenny?
Yeah.
Just so you guys have a chance to read those. We'll share those with you monthly if we get more. There is another one that's not on here that's got to do with it that you'll get next month. So these are the donations. We agreed, one of Joyce Jenny's nephews, a Wadi, had approached the school district in starting a fund accepting donations from her in lieu of them giving something to the family in a memorial type thing. We have done this in the past with Pat Kelleher. We were, graciously, he had a, life insurance policy that he donated to the school upon his death with the ties to the music department that it had to be used for music. And so there's still like $7,000 or so remaining that, the music department has been drawing down, but that was a $60,000 donation. I don't know that Joyce Jenny's gonna be anywhere near that, but they just asked if they could do that, so we're gonna track that in a separate fund. His suggestion was to get, somebody from the pre-K 3 building to form a committee, which I think Scott might be willing to do with probably Sarah Nestor, and if there were other staff that knew Joyce Jenny, to decide, how to honor her with the funds that we are collecting, to move forward with that. So you can see there was like 3 of them on here. We continue to get donations for the Wyndham dinner. That's going really well. That's for the students that attend them. School readiness donations, that's $2,000 a quarter. That's very, very good. As you can see, Tom's is up to $2,280. Normally we get about $1,000 from Tom, so that's increased double.
Any questions on the resolution? All right, is there a motion for approval?
Hey, Rickman.
Number second? Thank you. All right, roll call vote, Zwiley, yes. Ted?
Yes.
Lewisburg?
Yes.
Holberg?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Otto?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, Vicki.
Yeah.
All right, number 9, consider approval of flexible learning year application. The time has come. Meetings.
Time has come.
Lots of deliberation.
I wanna go through every line item on this,
One more time.
Please do, let's talk.
Before he does that, Mr. Chair, can I make a motion to approve?
Second. I got a second. Any further discussion?
just one comment, and that would be that I wanna show appreciation to Angie, because, we worked together on this, but she's primarily responsible for the content of the application, which was, a lot of detail, as you can see here. So thank you for her, thank her for her work. If you approve this, then we'll send it in, and as soon as we get a response, we'll be informing you, so you can take the next steps.
All right, thanks, Angie, really appreciate it. Any other discussion? If not, looking for a roll call vote. Savaggio, yes. Ted?
Yes.
Lewisburg?
Yes.
Holberg?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Otto? Motion carries. All right, number 10, annual compliance of American Indian Parent Advisory Committee.
So each year, board, it's, because we have 10 or more students, American Indian students that attend school within the district, we're obligated by the annual compliance of American Indian Parent Advisory Committee statute to, try to form an parent advisory committee. Angie's actually worked pretty hard on trying to reach out to the parents and urge them to be part of this. And I think, why don't I just stop there and turn it over to you for a minute, and you tell them what you've been doing.
You know,
What it's about.
well, actually, I kind of have it all written in here, just so we can show the state. The state really wants us to form a American Indian Parent Advisory Group. Last July, I actually started all the outreach, started making personal phone calls, just to connect with people, and see if I could get, interest, and letting them know that, we were gonna be sending a letter out inviting them, to join us. And after a lot of follow-up, we did hold a meeting. We had one person show up, which was better than the year past. So I'm just hoping that if I do another outreach this summer, maybe we can start driving those numbers up.
Great.
So at any rate, we're obligated to file this report with the state at this point, and at this point, we don't have a parent advisory committee, but we'll,
Well, we had somebody show up to the meeting, that was
Yeah.
more progress than we've ever had, so that's great.
so, but you need to take action authorizing that we submit this.
Okay. Looking for a motion to, approve the submittal.
Peter, I can make a motion.
Thank you, Ted. I'll second Jeff. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Zavato, yes. Ted Reichman.
Yes.
Hoogisberg. Yes. Holbert.
Yes.
Angie Ritter.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Number 11, Minnesota State High School League dues update. Rick, where are we now? Have we paid our dues? Are we going to pay our dues? Not asking Jeff.
Well, I'm actually pretty excited to present this to you tonight. We just got this, in the mail a few days ago. It indicates that the district has been cited as not paying its complete dues. However, more importantly, our concerns as, well, some of you will remember is, it was just an arbitrary amount. We were paying the same level as a lot larger schools, and we wanted to reach out and try to see if somebody would listen to us. So we've only sent in a portion of the dues. You authorized that. And what we've learned just in the last week is, number one, the Minnesota State High School League Board of Directors is holding a vote that started today and will be going on until March 5th, asking every school district to determine if they're willing to increase, if they'll give the high school league authority to increase its representative membership by 2 votes. And those two are 2 positions, and those 2 positions would be going to superintendents of schools from around the state. Because there's no representation from the superintendent's committee on that. And these kinds of things that we were challenging would have been challenged by that group because they're aware of how funding goes. So I'm pretty sure that that vote is gonna go well. And Jeff Holtberg and Bill Mills for our school district will be, are the authorized people to actually conduct the vote, and I'm the one that submits it. So that's a big step, because that's never happened before, and that's a big step to get them to expand their membership. And then secondly, you guys remember the name Keith Kotke. Keith is the superintendent of schools in Springfield, and he inspired the challenge that a number of schools across the state, at least around 50, took up to send a message to the high school league that this wasn't an equitable assessment of fees that they did when they sent this stuff out last summer. And so they are forming a finance committee that is supposed to be looking at the due structure. And the formation of that is a matter of public record. And Keith is one of 2 or 3 people from this geographic area that will be serving in that committee. And I think we'll be wise to stay abreast of that, but he and the others will do a good job of making sure they recognize, or at least hear, what our concerns were with this, because it was an unequitable amount that we were asked to pay. So having made that progress, even though it's not gonna be great relief to us financially. What I'd ask you guys to discuss is giving me the authority, or Vicki and I the authority, to pay the full assessment of dues, which is shown in your handout, to be $2,528.60, based on us already having paid $3,515.40. That is an amount that's less than what we were first asked to pay, because the high school, they came into some dollars they weren't expecting. So across the board, they reduced the assessment. And remember, once the high school gets in a situation where they can host tournaments and generate TV revenue because they're hosting tournaments, the cost of the assistance that we're giving should decrease over time. Because a lot of what's happened here is due to COVID, and that's where we would be attributing these funds from for this year, because they're exorbitant in comparison to what you paid in the past. I think I don't have anything else to say, so I'll just stop and answer questions if you have any.
No, I appreciate Rick essentially being our squeaky wheel. And I'm proud of the board for standing strong to this and pushing back, and enough squeaky wheels made enough noise that I think we're moving in the right direction. And I think that's a big deal. I think it's having your guy on there, Rick, is really a nice peace of mind knowing that we have somebody that's gonna represent out of state. And things are looking better. Well, thank you, Rick, for
Thank you.
working hard at this.
I did say that I could serve, but that Mr. Holberg might be able to, and they said, let's just go with Kaki.
I might not be that much
I'm
different.
just teasing.
Sorry. Oh, we had that guy vote for us, though. No,
No,
that's great. I mean, it's good to know we didn't completely roll over and it wasn't for nothing. Yeah. All right, any other discussion on that, or if not, I'm looking for a motion to approve Rick and Vicki paying the remainder of our dues.
You right, we'll make a motion.
Okay, can I get a second? Perfect. Full Brightman vote. All right, Zavadil, yes. Ted?
Yes.
Coogisburg?
Yes.
Holzberg?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Huck?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Number 12, preliminary discussion about the need for a quality best practice mentorship program.
So board, at our last general board meeting, we had a meet and confer session with the Teachers Association prior to the meeting, if you remember. One of the topics that was discussed at that time was the fact that we have about 33% of our staff, I think it was 31 employees, who are new to the district in the last 3 years. And these would be teachers or principals. And we don't have a intentional mentoring program in this district, but it's something that I'm asking you to think about helping us get in place. And the reason for that is I think we have some outstanding young folks who have joined our staff. I think in order to develop a staff that understands culture and understands, the simple things when you come into a place of employment, like, where are the bathrooms? How do I participate in the food service program? Am I participating as a employee financially in a healthy way by being part of the 403B match program that we set up for them, for their health? And in addition to that, how do I participate? What's the culture of the community? What's the culture? What's important to do? Where do I go if I want to be part of the community in a whole? Maybe I want to join the golf club. Maybe I want to join some book club or something. And that guidance happens, but it's left to chance for us right now. And so one of the things that I'm used to and that I think is best practice is the development of a program called a mentor-mentee program that's very intentional about all those little things. In the first year, basically hold hands with this employee, which to the employee means tremendous support from the leadership of the district. Because they don't have to search for help or answers to questions. They can simply ask their mentor. And the idea is that we would set aside enough money out of professional development funds that we would articulate a defined program where the new staff would meet with a leader that we hire. And this leader, as I have articulated this, we would have to work this out with the union. All of this has to be agreeable in terms of any positions that we create. But it would be along the lines of a head coach in a sport. Only the director of this program or the coordinator of this program would take people from the beginning of the year before they walk in our doors all the way through the year in probably twice a month meetings. And those meetings would be for the new staff who would not be paid to come in, but they would be coming in, say, from 7:30 to 8 in the morning, or maybe they're already paid, but that time would be set aside to talk about common concerns or common issues among new staff. So it could be, how's the lunch program work? It could be, I got a couple rascals in my room that are giving me a tough time. How do I deal with classroom management? Or it could be, what do I do during a fire drill? Or what do we do? What's the protocol around here for safety if we had an intruder or something? I mean, essentially, you do what I think good businesses do, highly effective functioning businesses do. They understand when they hire somebody, it's a big commitment. And to lose that person because they feel uncomfortable or they weren't tended to is a big deal now. Nowadays, especially in our work, because we should be spending a lot of time to develop these folks. And if they never get comfortable, they can talk to their buddies someplace else who have these kinds of programs. So the way it would work is we would post a position if you gave us authority to do this, and we would pay somebody for a year. Now this is a year-long program, but if we could start this, I'd like to start it immediately for the remainder of this year while we have staff here. And so we would cut things in half, let's say, in terms of what the cost would be. But I think the total cost of the program would be less than $15,000. Some of that would go as a stipend to the coordinator of the program, who would be meeting throughout the course of the year with the mentees. That person also would be meeting with the mentors. And those mentors would be, let's say we had 10 new teachers next year that were coming into the district. The mentors would be staff, teaching staff, wouldn't have to be necessarily in the same department, but it would be someplace in the same program. So high school, middle school, elementary school. And those people would meet weekly. Now maybe they meet more often, but they would be receiving a stipend of some amount. And I would say in the district I was in, it started at $500 and over the course of time it increased a little bit. So it would be paying the teacher, the mentor, whoever that was identified, $500 to mentor this person under the guidance of the coordinator. The coordinator would report directly to myself when time gone, and then Chip when he gets back. And the principals would be in a position where they're supportive of the program, but the caretaking part that I'm talking about would fall on the coordinator that we hire. There would be a curriculum, and part of the curriculum would be about the culture, part of it would be about being comfortable, part of it would be on gathering all these people together, every other week or once a month, however often was necessary. But there's a cohort then that's meeting together, that's talking about common problems. So I might be in the business 30 years, and I'm gonna be in this program the first year because even though I might know a lot about what I'm doing, I don't know anything about Minnewaska. And I need to know about the culture. And we would work together to develop the kind of people that we want working with our kids. And what I've learned in the past is we used to have a lot of turnover where I was before until this program got rolling. And then every year, at the end of the year, we reached out to the people on the program and said, what do we need to do to make this program better? How do we make it more relevant? And what happened is we just kept ramping it up and ramping it up. And then what's happening now are becoming mentors themselves because they've been here 3 or 4 years or longer. And they're taking care of these people because they know the answers to these many questions. And certainly people are gonna leave a district because for family reasons or whatever, they maybe meet somebody someplace else, or maybe to get their dream job, go back home, or whatever that would be. But for the most part, unless you have one of those paramount kind of reasons, you don't lose people. And I think that there is a bond that develops among those folks that come in that just perpetuates year after year after year. So our thought is this would be a 3-year program. The first year, if we did it the way I've articulated here, we would pay a mentor to mentor the mentee. The second year, the people know their way around, and so we take what they're doing in the classroom to a higher level. So the coordinator would meet with those people, not as often as they did the first year, but they'd be quizzing them on instruction as an example. So they'd be saying, how's it going in the classroom? Maybe it's classroom management, maybe it's instruction. And they might be saying to them, and this is non-evaluative, this is not administrative, this is grow and glow. So they'd say, have you ever filmed yourself in the classroom? And I mean, I'm just speaking from experience. People say, no, I've never done that. I don't know how to do that. Why would I do that? Well, it just gives you, we don't look at the film, but you can look at it when we're done, and you can see how are you working the room? What kind of instruction are you providing? And there's a lot of aha moments when you look at yourself on film and see how you're working with people and measure that against, is that what you intended? Or are these just things that you do because you're comfortable, and so you force yourself to do things that are more effective? And then the third year would be optional, but there are some people that we'd say, maybe you want more work, maybe you want more support. Now, along the way, you still have everything happening for a sum that is, I hope, is going to be around $15,000 for a full year. And that's going to change a little bit up and down based on how many new people you have coming in or leaving. It could be 5 1 year, it could be 12. But these are ballpark numbers. But I can tell you that if you went to a mentorship program, you would not regret it. You would have greater retainage of staff, and in the end, I think the $15,000 was your outlay. I mean, that's going to our teachers. That's going to our people that we wanted to go to in service the folks that we want to stay here and become part of our long-term culture. You do have I've talked to Chip about this a little bit, and we do have some time that's been set aside for some veteran staff to help some of the younger staff. But there are too many things that gotta match up, and it's not what I would call intentional. So if we took Chris as an example, if he's got a first block free, and somebody in the science department's got first block free, well, they got some time to meet. But if he doesn't have first block free and that person does, there's no time really to interact except in passing. And there's no curriculum. There's no guidance and structure. And so what I wanted to do is ask you about the possibility of using professional development dollars for something that would be directly related to professional development and would be directly related to supporting those who are newest to our district. First year in the district, everybody's part of it, whether they're a first year teacher or third year teacher. And then after that, we do what makes sense. Some people would be released. Most of the people want to continue because they grow to like that support. And if you gave approval, what we would do is post a position and ask for, and I've already got an outline of these things we've talked about, including all the professional kinds of things, technology and some synergy and Schoology, if we had that, we don't know, not right now, but Google Meets and all that stuff to bring it all together. And so I think I'll stop there, and if you have any questions, but I'd like to ask for you either to give me authority to move forward with this, or I and put it on as a recommendation for action. Because if we wait a month, then we're gonna be a month closer to the end of the school year. And, just like we had in the meet and confer, like, just because we start the school year in July and end it in June, doesn't mean really anything to us. We can start just like they do in the regular world, whenever it seems appropriate. If it isn't appropriate, then I don't think we should do it, but I wanna answer any questions you might have at this point, Justin.
I guess the biggest concern that I might have is, isn't it super dependent upon, per se, the individual? I forget the term, the mentor, overseer, for this to work?
So in this system, it is. And so in this system, we don't leave hardly anything to chance. So we would ask our staff, our veteran staff, generally if we can, we'd like it to be somebody that's tenured, so 3 or more years, or beyond 3 years, I guess, although they could be here just a year or two and be a veteran. And what we would do is say, you can apply to be a mentor. And then that coordinator and myself would say, okay, so we have these 10 teachers, these 10 individuals, and we have 25 applications. So we would be able to match up somebody that we think would be a good mentor with that particular person, and that person would be paid, let's just say it's $500. And then that person, though, before they just start meeting with this, they're gonna go through some training with the coordinator to make sure that we're covering the things that are supposed to be covered. And they don't do what they're supposed to do. I mean, I just can't imagine if they're applying that would happen. But if it didn't, then we would be asking that coordinator to ask me for help, but we would sit down and say, what's going on here? You know, this is like coaching football or something. We've hired you to be the coach. We need you to coach.